Hey, what's going on, you guys? You know what it is. It's another episode of Unlicensed Therapy with Swirl, the Unlicensed Therapist. I have a special guest today, a good friend of mine. You want to introduce yourself?
Dewayne Madden from here in Chattanooga.
Yes. We've been friends for, I don't even know, probably a good, what, 10?
10, at least 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. So today, we wanted to come on. He reached out to me, and he wanted to come on today. We want to talk about, really normalizing expressing your feelings. But before we get into that, I got a couple things I want to talk to him about and ask him about. No, it's not nothing crazy, But I was thinking about it last night. I remember a story me and you talked about one time, and I was just wondering, how do you feel that the destructive choices you made as a child affected you as now as an adult?
Man, dude, that's a good question. A lot of it didn't have much bearing on it, you know what I mean? But I got one serious charge as a 17-year-old that was considered a violent charge, and they're easy to get. There was literally no violence involved. It was a threat. And man, this kept me from getting a TSA pre-check. It kept me from getting approved for a bank loan to buy commercial real estate.
Oh wow!
Yeah, man, that was a huge hit. We were going to buy a building to put a hemp house in. We were going to own the property, and the bank turned us down because of a charge that I got 23 years ago.
Oh wow! So
over 23 years ago.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, just when we were talking that day, and I was thinking about some of the reckless stuff that I did growing up, destructive choices that I made growing up. And one of them, a friend of mine who I've been friends with for 30 plus years, we were talking about it yesterday, and we would all just now be getting out of jail if we got out at all. So I just was wondering that.
Well, I mean, dude, I fought a case where they offered me 30 years, and I think about that all the time. And if I hadn't beat them charges, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think back on those days, man. When I was sitting there, I was 19, 20, 21 years old. And they're throwing these big numbers at me. And they were like, 15 years, 30 to 15, and you're at 19 years old. 15's a lifetime.
Yes,
bro.
It is.
That's a lifetime, bro.
Yeah.
Looking back now, hindsight, but that's a lifetime, dude. And so, I pushed and I beat those charges. You know what I mean? And so that was, and that was also a turning point for me when I realized the game I was playing got real serious.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because that's got to be at 19. I think back when I was 19, we don't really know what depression is. And I'm sure you were going through a state of depression, thinking about that.
And honestly, when I was young, my parents had me, I got in a lot of trouble in elementary school, middle school, a lot of behavioral issues, and so I was going to see a psychiatrist at a teenage year. But I was misusing medication, you know what I mean? We was telling them shit to try to get certain stuff, you know what I mean? We were trying to manipulate the system, I didn't use it correctly. I had the tools there for me, unfortunately, you know what I mean? I just didn't use them. I didn't use them correctly. And I was never honest with them. I was in there under my objective. What I was trying to get out of them, not what they could honestly do for my mental health, because in my mind,
wasn't nothing wrong. We didn't think that. Like, we were just out
didn't know what depression was.
Right, we did. We didn't know what depression was. What we saw as mental illness was, your friend's uncle that lived in the basement.
Super crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
super crazy shit.
And it's really smaller than that.
It's such a small. it's broader than that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Too,
in a sense, but it can be broken down down to the minuscule amount, man. Just where you're. I won't call myself. I almost said simple, but it's not simple. But just an ADHD diagnosis. Can be considered part of mental health, because a lot of stuff comes with that, man.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? And so you think of, ADHD, what does it matter? It can't sit still, it can't focus. There's more to it than that, man.
Yeah, my wife
there's a lot more to it than that.
My wife suffers from ADHD.
And some people it's very manageable, and some people it leads to other things whenever you're coping in with depression and anxiety, and those two are undiagnosed, and you're thinking, you know what I mean? There's just so much there, man. And you can blame our medical system. We're about the same age. We grew up in the 80s. It was toughen it up. You know what I mean? You're a guy, toughen up.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't do that.
Yeah, we we're not taught to express like, hey, I'm not, you know, I get out there and do, you know. Well, let me say that I didn't have. I tell people all the time, my mom never gave me, never was like, you can't cry.
Sure.
You know what
sure,
I'm saying?
Sure.
Like she was always express your emotions.
Sure.
So I'm thankful for that. That's why I'm able to do something like this. You know, thanks to my mom, rest in peace to her. I'm still dealing with that. But you know,
grief is huge, bro.
yes.
Man, we'll get into it here in a little bit, but I'm currently in some DBT stuff, and grief is a huge part of that, man. And there's a lot to that.
Yeah,
it's not something to be just washed under. It's not something to just look at and say, well, they passed on, you should be over it. Like, it don't work that way, bro.
No, especially when it's a parent or a child. Hell, anybody,
about,
hell,
you know what
your
I mean?
damn dog.
Because
Like,
I've
you know
worked a lot of
saying?
my family, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, it's yeah, man. So it could be anybody that you care deeply for. But yeah, a lot of times in those parental, and those definitely, I couldn't imagine a child.
Me either.
But in the parental sense, you know, we all, you know, obviously, you know, I don't want my mom to have to bury me. You know what I mean? It's a tough. I don't want to bury my mom, but I don't want her to have to bury me. You know what I mean? So you know, if the natural order of life goes, I'm gonna bury my mom. And it's gonna be something that I've got to do. I've already buried my dad. You know, it was something I went through, and it was tough. You know, because me and him didn't have the best relationship all the time.
I think, you know what? I think with that, I think that to me, I can't speak because I had a good relationship with my mother, but I think with my dad. It wasn't until I was 21 till we really started developing a relationship, like a strong relationship.
Wow.
But I think with when you don't have a good relationship, it's kind of rocky, and you have to bury that parent. I think it's harder because like watching my wife with her dad and her mom losing both. She lost both of them. She has a lot, still to this day has a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I can imagine you probably had some what ifs with your dad.
Me and my dad didn't speak for 2 years, and if I called the house and he answered, he just handed the phone to somebody else. Like if I walked in and he was sitting there, we didn't acknowledge each other. And it was because I was being a dumbass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was out here in and out of jail, getting arrested all the time, and I mean, he just tough love, man. And he told me, he said, man, just straighten your shit up or I'm done with you. And straightened my shit up and he was done with me. And you know, I am thankful that we rekindled our relationship, and when he passed, man, we had a great relationship. I saw him the day before, you know. So yeah, you know, but it was tough, man. And
how do you, with that situation with your dad giving you that kind of tough love, what kind of self-reflection did you do?
Well, I mean,
at the time, I'm sure when you were out doing, you know, you weren't thinking about it, but as you got older,
I moved out when I was 16, you know. That was one of those, my rules or get out. And I called the sheriff's department and said, how old can you be and not get a file to run away and move out? And they were like 16. You know, around my 16th birthday, man, I moved out. You know, and it was just me. You know, and my dad wasn't a tough love all the time. I just was a knucklehead, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he just eventually got tired of my bullshit. You know, eventually just got tired of it, and because he gave me everything. You know what I mean? He worked his ass off to give me and provide for me and do all these things, and here I was taking them for granted, wrecking cars, just not giving a shit, getting arrested, calling for bonds. You know, just tired of it. You know, and I get it, dude. As an adult now, I get it, bro. Like I 100% get it. We're not talking about 13, 14 years old. We're talking, you know, 19, 20, 18, 19. As an adult,
old enough to know better.
Old enough to know better. Old enough to know better. You know, and by that time I had been to prison, so I mean, you know, I grew up fast. You know what I mean? And so definitely old enough to know better than to be doing some of the dumb shit I was doing. You know.
So with that, again, like now being an adult, being a business owner, you had to take, of course, some accountability, self-accountability. I'm big on that on this platform about self-reflection, because I think a lot of times we move in a way that we think that we're bigger than we are as an individual, and we never want to blame ourselves for situations. And one thing I always say is
accountability is hard, man.
It is.
It's hard, and if you won't hold yourself accountable, you know what I mean. You can't count on nobody else to do it, you know. But accountability is hard. It's a real hard thing, man.
So, I know we talked about you going. You say you're going
Bro,
through therapy?
so I've always, I'm not always, but I've been seeing an individual therapist for years. And then most recently was dealing with some stuff with her. And she was like, hey man, you know, have you ever heard of DBT? It's diabolical behavioral therapy. And I said, no. She said, I think it'd be a good class for you. And I've got insurance, I met my deductible. It didn't cost me nothing. I mean, it's a pretty expensive class, but like I said, with insurance, I met my deductible. Man, I was in there, I think I paid $100 a week or something like that for 3 classes a week. And I'll tell you, Nick, it's something I wish I'd have had when I was 18 or 19, if I would have been able to accept it and apply it the way that I am now. And it's probably one of the best things that I've done for myself.
Tell me about. I've never heard of it.
Dude, I had never heard of it either until my therapist had recommended it to me. And it was developed by a lady. It's very recent. I think as early as 2005 or 2015. I can't remember, but it's recent in the
Okay.
you know. And it was a lady who had behavioral disorders, and so she developed this program. Basically, different therapies, just looking at things from a different perspective, and breaking down all the different individual choices, you know, and then it has different things like if you need to go have a hard for me specifically, for me, like it's like how to have hard conversations with people, you know what I mean? I was taught not to ask questions and don't answer questions. You know what I mean? It's fucking simple. It's hard to have a conversation with somebody who ain't asking questions and don't fucking want to answer questions, you know?
Yeah.
And then I am extremely quick to jump to defense and anger, you know what I mean? And feel like you're attacking me with your questions, you know what I mean? And so my big thing is working on for myself is, you know, it's looking at the inside for me and how to approach new experiences in life. You know what I mean? I'm going through a few different things right now, and so I'm trying to make sure that, you know, I can handle these and make decisions that are going to be beneficial and not destructive. Because even as an adult, man, I've made some destructive decisions, and it can be just, you know, going out and having a heavy drinking weekend and putting something off or whatever. I mean, you know, we've got different priorities. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean going to jail or having, you know, nothing like that. But I can make decisions that would be considered destructive. You know what I mean? And so I'm working on handling that a little bit better. And this is just a deeper dive into that, man.
Okay, I like that. I'll definitely have to look into that because I've never heard of it, and definitely want to maybe put it out there for some people that might.
Dude, and I'll say, man, Chattanooga is a great resource community. There's a lot of places out here. So if you've got followers who, you know, are interested, I would honestly, if you've got insurance, get in there, see what places your network will cover. Call. Get on the internet, you have to look at the different places you can go to that might have a therapist that you would want to talk to, and read the different profiles and pick somebody, and you ain't got to stick with the first one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find somebody you can talk to, somebody that's comfortable, that you feel comfortable sharing to. And like I said, it was hard for me, and even in the beginning, man, I didn't tell my therapist everything, you know what I mean? Man, I didn't tell you everything, you know what I mean? But now I'm at a point now where I see the benefits of having somebody that I can confide everything into.
Yeah, they say if you don't, when you go to the therapist, they say, I've never been, I probably need to go. But they say, you know, if you go and you don't share, then don't go.
Don't go.
You know,
if you're not going to be truthful with them, if you're not, and I saw that, dude. I wasn't being honest in some senses, and it wasn't helping me. It was hurt. It was not doing me any good. And so, same thing, man. If you're going to go, you're going to try to get something out of it. You know, you got to be honest with it. And so I did, and I got real serious with it, and I saw some significant differences in myself. I saw some things that I was able to work on and change. You know, but honestly, it's just good for guys to go and get some of that shit out, bro.
Yeah, because we get stuck, like you said, get stuck with that.
If you get stuck with any kind of mentality where crying to bed, you can't just, man, fuck that shit, dude. You need to go sit somewhere and cry, bro, because you got some shit to let out, I promise you do. And when you may not be able to stop for a minute, you know what I mean?
Right, and I think a lot of individuals that I grew up with, that I know, I think we all have childhood traumas that probably need to be addressed. I know my biggest one that I've been addressing, which I think I'm at peace with my decision on what I made was about my dad.
Yeah.
You know, I got his picture on the side of my food truck because it took 42 years for him to tell me he was proud of me.
No, bro, I get it.
So, you know what I'm saying?
My dad didn't get to see what I was doing. Fortunately, I was doing good when he passed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was making good money. I was doing my own thing. I had a good thing going on. but hemp house wasn't up yet, man.
Yeah.
So he didn't get to see me doing this, and he would have laughed his ass off because our biggest thing we put a head over was weed. You know what I mean? And so then here I am. If you're never gonna be nothing with that, then damn, here we go. You know what I mean? So I kind of, I wish he would have been here to see that because he would have got a kick out of it, dude. You know what I mean? He would have got a big kick out of it.
That's what's up. Yeah, it's I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this is because a lot of us, especially how we grew up, especially out wilding or the neighborhoods we grew up in and stuff like that. Like we don't get a chance to go to a therapist. We don't get, or we're scared to go to
You're
therapy.
Scared to go, or you're not going to be honest. You know
Right.
what I mean? You can't go in there and tell them all the business and stuff. And it's not a confession, you know what I mean?
No.
But dude, I'm telling you, man, you realize there's stuff you're holding in that you didn't know affected you the way that it affects you. You know what I mean? Until you start letting it out, and then you're like, holy shit, man! How, I mean, like honestly, you sit back and you look at it and you're like, dude, how was I carrying that? How the hell was I carrying that?
I had a conversation with my dad a couple weeks ago when I went to see him, and we were talking about some things. My dad's a pastor, so I get that kind of enlightenment from him. We were talking about it, and I think I harbor some feelings towards my sister. I know what she sees. And she's like, what? Because I have a great relationship with my sister. I love my sister to death. But I feel like she bailed on me when our mom started getting sick.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I probably need to have a conversation. I think we've talked about it a little bit before. And she's even said it. You know what I'm saying? But I think we're going to have a conversation about it.
I'll tell you, having that conversation is important.
Yeah.
If you think it's worthy of a conversation, it 100% is. You know what I mean? And even if it's just for you letting them know how you feel so they can understand you better, there's something behind that. There's a reason that you feel that way. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. And I think I'm going to have it sooner than later.
Maybe have to when she had to air the podcast.
Yeah, when she sees this, you know what I'm saying? And it's no love losses or anything like that. It's just I have to,
that's
be
what
honest.
mature adults do, dude. We discuss how we're feeling. And if if me and you are in a business venture and you're doing something I don't agree with, I don't discuss it with you. How you gonna know? You know what I mean? And it might be, 9 times out of 10 in my head it's something way bigger. And I'm like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Believe he was doing it. And I go and tell you, and you're like, bro, I didn't even realize that it looked that way, or you know what I mean? And it's just a conversation that needed to be had.
That happened with me and Homeboy D. Shout out to Homeboy D. When we had our store up on Shallowford, he had a lot of personal stuff going on, and I wasn't being an understanding friend. And I got mad, and I was like, man, fuck this, and we fell out about it. Yeah. But we fell out because I wasn't being an understanding friend. I wasn't being a good friend. His dad had just passed away.
Why you slacking? What's going on, man? I feel like you're leaving me out to dry here. What's going on? And then he would have explained, it's just conversation.
I should have asked though.
But we're taught not to, you know what I mean? Yeah. For some, I don't know why it's a cultural thing. I don't know why if it's cultural, if it's generational.
I think it's generational because like the older men were raised by the harder older men that was raised by the harder older.
For sure,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it didn't get down until like our age when it's kind of like, okay, I can kind of let off a little bit. Like you don't have to go cut that tree down with the axe. Go get the chainsaw. You know what I'm saying? But you still gotta cut the tree down because you gotta get the work done. But like see, that's why I'm at too. Shit. But yeah, it's that generation, man. Because I look at my grandfather, man, my mom's dad. He cut the grass 2 days before he died. Literally, got out there, push mowed it. Yeah. Push mowed it, 80-something years old. He cuts grass every week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you raised by that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm at a young age going out there raking pine needles and burning them, and they're like, you're working. You know what I'm saying? So I think I get a lot of my work ethic from him.
I know my dad.
You know what I'm saying? Because my dad wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I say. But like I said, I'm at peace with that. Still gotta have that conversation with my sister. But yeah, man, like this platform is for this. It's for the dialogue. It's for the conversation.
Well, you need more people, more grown men. And if you're looking at statistics, it's honestly more grown black men. But you know what I mean? You need more grown men in general that are willing to discuss their feelings and talk to shit and talk with their partners, their significant others. People are breaking up because of this. Right. They're not fucking having conversations that could have been had. Instead, somebody's harboring feelings, and we're all gonna have feelings. It's how we act on them.
Right.
That's what, you're okay to have hatred, anger, like whatever you feel, it's feeling, bro. You can have that. You're allowed to feel that. How
You
you,
know,
act on it is what determines.
It took me and Brandy, me and my wife been together for 25 years. It took me 15 years to learn how to communicate.
Hey, dude, that's a huge
You know what I'm
thing.
saying? It took me 15 years to learn how to be honest, communicate, and be okay with the outcome. Whether we get into an argument about it and we work it out, but at least it's out there, it's done, and we can move on. And now, ever since then, we've been in a golden spot. I absolutely love it. She's my best friend.
That's how
You
it
know,
should be.
but at first, no, it could have been over with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it would have been all my fault because I was fucking
yeah,
up.
because,
I was fucked up. Like I tell people all the time, like, and I say this with the most humblest heart. Me and my homeboy, we really weren't raised to be shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we all have our flaws. We have, but as we grow, we
something
learn.
I struggle with is personally. Sometimes I don't feel like I deserve the shit I got because I was told growing up I wasn't gonna have shit for living my lifestyle, you know, for doing it, you know, and you know, I was told this by family members, teachers, fucking judges, you know what I mean, like everybody, probation officers, you know, you ain't gonna be shit, you know. And it's something that I struggle with sometimes looking at that.
So let's talk about that for a second. Do you feel like a lot of that fueled your success now? Or do you still feel like, are you still kind of like survivor's remorse?
I still have those same thoughts, man. I still do think about that shit sometimes, and it gets to me, you know. And it's, you know, it's I don't know where it comes from, man, but it's deep and it gets dark sometimes, bro. I mean, we're being truthful, it gets dark, dude. You know.
What are some things that you do to help you climb out of that darkness? Because I mean, you're very successful.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I definitely look, you definitely motivate me to go harder with my business because I know, you know what I'm saying, where it was at, and went from, you know, carpentry, construction, doing remodels to successful businesses, and one of the it people, I dare say, one of the it people in the Chattanooga area.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate
you know,
that.
what do you do to climb out of, you know?
Man, I've got a good resource of you know, support. You know what I mean? And honestly, dude, you know, I reach out to them, and it's just that's something that therapy's taught me. It's okay to reach out to people who are your support team, and you should have a support team. And it don't gotta be a fucking team. It can be one person. As long as that one person can hold you up when you need them to, then that's fine. You know what I mean? But I got a few people, dude, that I reach out to, and I say, hey man, I'm in the dark spot. So they know what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just talk about shit. And you know, just it's just gets you back grounded, reminds you back that you are worth something. You know what I mean? That you got people that care about you.
Yeah, because you definitely, man, you definitely are one of the individuals that I look at and say, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
appreciate
can
that.
do this. You know what I'm saying? Because
I've always said I love seeing friends, you know, successful. I love seeing friends start new businesses around Chattanooga. I think Chattanooga's a great place to be successful. And I think it's very supportive of the people that want to start up businesses. And so I've always been encouraging, you know, and I've always thought, man, it's great to see, you know, peers, people that I interact with on a daily, coming up that level. You know what I mean? Having it being in the business world, I think it's awesome.
yeah, it definitely is. I don't know what it is. It's just like a feeling you get. Like if I'm out and I hear somebody, asking questions about the like CBD rolls or whatever. First thing I say is go holler at my boy at Hip House.
I appreciate it.
And the thing with that is because it gives me a joy in my heart to see my friend win. The same as you said. It's so minute because my homeboy, he just got a new whip, right?
Yeah.
Hard working man, hard working.
Yeah.
And he just got his dream car. And I came home one day, I saw them unloading it off the trailer, and I stopped in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm hyping them up because that's my friend.
That's absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I am proud to see my friend have what he worked so hard to get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like that with everybody.
No, it's good to see other people winning, dude. It really is. You know, whoever I said it's long at the top, not if you take everybody with you.
Right, like you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody can go. It's just they can't hang on, you know, so they got to be doing something productive.
Absolutely. Well, and the circle trimmed itself out. I mean, you know, but it's like you said, not everybody can do it, but it's still fun to see everybody out there trying, encouraging, people to start up and do what they dream about, not not have to work in a capital world. You know what I mean? Fuck capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. This is the political views, but no,
No.
but no, I'm just fucking with you.
No.
But yeah, man, I love that we're able to sit down here and talk about, growing up, our past, history, things that we've done, things that should have derailed us, but didn't think they motivated us.
You're right. Those things all do have bearing and affect us in an adult way. You know what I mean? Like, some more direct impacts, like I was talking about, I can't get TSA pre-check, I'm getting banned from this, I can't do that. And then other on that emotional side, you know what I mean? Well, like you said, childhood trauma, stuff that, I was out here doing shit that nobody had no business doing. You know what I mean? At 14, just, doing just bad stuff. We should not have been doing. And there's trauma involved in that. There's trauma involved in that, dude. And it's you gotta talk about it. And it's just like, man, 14. Yeah, but you never talked about it. It's still it's still in there.
You hold on to it, like, and I think about some of my childhood traumas. A lot of it is just like I say, railed around my dad, and it impacted me negatively and positively, because on a positive note, it made me be the greatest father absolutely that I can be.
Absolutely.
I get that. And that's one of those things that either goes one or the other way. Like,
for sure.
You're going to be a great dad, or you're going to be the same kind of dad that you had.
Yeah.
And it caused me to be the greatest father, absolute greatest father in the world that I could be to my son. And I think about, like, the family, like, being able to make sure that I tell him, because what I didn't hear from him is, I'm proud of you. Yeah. I love you, son. I do this.
You know that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I make sure that I make sure I do that. So when my son has kids, he knows he's gonna pass that on too, and so on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I hold on to it, and I should let it go, but I still hold on to just a little bit of it, just a little teeny bit of
fuel, man.
Yeah, just so
fuel.
I can, stay on top of it. You know what I'm saying?
That.
So, but it'd be hard though, because sometimes people think that I'd be like, with my dad, like I'm obligated to do certain things.
Bro, we're not obligated
really.
to do anything,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, man, there's no rules to life. Nobody's got a rule book. You know what I mean? We're not obligated to do anything for anybody unless you sign some contract somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's just on you holding it up as a man. You know what I mean? So, no, we're not obligated. And people get the family thing twisted too hard in my book.
Yeah.
It's okay to cut family out, bro. If family's toxic, they gotta go.
You gotta let them
They gotta go. They gotta go.
That's one of the things that I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do is cut that family off.
Well, it has to be, but I mean, it's got to be done if it's toxic. Man.
Yeah.
If it's not good for you.
I had to do that before with my mom and my sister on some other stuff, and we circled back around and came to it.
Good.
But one
thing
that I do, man, I wholeheartedly believe in protecting your energy. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm pouring all my good energy into something and all I'm getting back is bad energy, guess what I'm gonna be filled with?
No, you're gonna be bad.
Yeah, and it's like that's gonna trickle down. It's gonna come to my relationship in my house,
100%.
my relationship with my friends.
It's gonna affect you in branding.
Yeah, so
for sure, absolutely.
So yeah, I cut out. I get out of a situation.
Protect your energy. I like that. I mean, that's true though, man. That's what it is. And you gotta, if somebody, and that's how you know if somebody's toxic. Like you said, if they're just bringing that negative energy to you, if you're walking away filled with negative energy,
you just drained. Like you just feel like you have this heavy weight on you. Yeah, you gotta get out of there.
There's nothing wrong, I say cutting off, but it's just removing them, and it can be temporary. You know what I mean? You set those terms. What's good for you, and it may just be you need to get out of that situation, or you need to have months to cool down, or whatever it is. But you're allowed to make those decisions. There's no rule book that says you're locked in for life.
You just learn how to. This is one thing that I tell people. Like, you learn how to deal with it. Like if this person is negative,
what cost?
Yeah, but you
got to have a boundary.
That's
something I'm learning a lot about, man, in these classes, man, is setting and upholding boundaries. And, it could be as major as, somebody's doing something inappropriate and you got to lock down that boundary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it could be just, dude, when I walk away from here, bro, you just made me feel drained. Dude, I can't have that right now. I'm just not equipped to handle that right now.
Yeah,
and it's setting those boundaries, man.
Me and Brady, we talk about that a lot. Because like she's she's like a nurturing person by spirit, like nurture. She wants to be there, and she wants to be there for everybody. But I have to tell her sometimes, baby, you gotta walk away, because what are you leaving for yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're not leaving yourself with anything, you know, you're wasting. You're not gonna be good to anybody if you're not good to yourself.
That's true. That's very true. And there's people out there, you know, that are like that. That, like you said, that it's just in them. They want to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know. And I mean, it's, you know, there's just people that are built different like that. Yes.
What are some daily things that you do to help keep you out of those dark spots? I know they come out of the blue sometimes, but it's a work.
I mean, notice it's accumulating positive experiences, man. It's doing things like this with people that you care about. You know what I mean? It's going out there and you know, we just got back from Dollywood. You know, it's going out there and doing all these things that just remind you about the joy of life. You know, and it's you know, there's you know, you can recognize signs and prevent that. You know, like I said, that'd be, you know, hey man, and you know, everybody I guess is going to be different on how things affect them. But for me, it's just going out there and just rekindling that spark. It's fun, you know, doing fun stuff with people that I like, hanging out, chilling, you know, cooking on food guy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
going
most
to eat,
definitely.
Finding somewhere to eat at. You know.
You're the reason I want that little pizza,
that
little pellet pizza oven.
They love some food, man. I think, you know, people bond over food, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And so, you know, I go and, like I said, just go out and call it, in therapy, it's called accumulating positive experiences. And so I do that a lot, man.
So, you know, without getting too deep, I think one of the biggest changes that I've seen in your life are the little ones. How is that? Without getting too, you know.
Yeah, man, it's a huge thing for me, dude. I've never been around kids. It's never been something in my wheelhouse. You know, you know, maybe early on in life thought about it and considered it, but then, you know, I built this completely kid-free lifestyle. You know what I mean? And it's different, man. It's different. You know, it's taking other things into consideration. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like it's giving you like a kind of like a boost of your youth back? It's kind of like,
oh man, I don't know, dude. It's exhausting, bro. They're 5 and 8, dude. It's exhausting, man. So, you know, running around all day. It was fun. You know, it's definitely fun going out and doing all the things. Like I said, we went up and down the strip at Gatlinburg and did the mirror maze, and you know, we did
stuff you normally wouldn't do.
Stuff I normally wouldn't do. The mini golf, rode the go karts.
That's
stuff.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, you okay? Definitely going back and doing useful stuff, but feeling my age at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, we be
I'll tell you, dude. I was
like,
beat, man. I was beat.
Accumulating positive experiences.
Yeah,
That definitely seems like it's one of
those. It was fun, and like I said, that was, you know, we're walking around and just, you know, and seeing them, you know, see all the different things and the different sites and getting the I don't remember, ice creams or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the different stuff that they like to do. You know, going to the arcade and just watching them play all the games. Or, you know, it's definitely cool to see that.
The thing with kids to me is you get to see first all over again. Because at our age, 43, 44, 45, whatever, like we pretty much like there's not a lot of firsts left for us.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at that age, you get to experience that first again.
A whole lot of new firsts for me, for sure, man. And I didn't really think about it like that. That's a really cool way to think about things. You know,
you got to, man. Like I'm very optimistic about life as a whole. I don't ever like people wake up, they got a flat tire, they like, the devil's working, I got a flat tire. I don't think about it like I think about it. I got a flat tire. I might just wasn't supposed to be where I was going at that time.
I'm logical, bro. I ran over a nail.
Anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh well, it's life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna get bent out of shape about it. You know what I'm saying? Hell, it's been plenty of times.
Well, that used to be one of my problems. I'd be kicking at the man. You know, and I wasn't blaming nobody, just this shit sucks, you know. And now it's more trying to look at it more logical, man. Look, you fucking ran over a nail. This is what happens. You get a flat tire.
Have you ever got a flat tire? You had no fucking money to get it fixed.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm at. Like, I didn't went outside, have to go to work, and got a flat tire, and don't have no money to get fixed.
Right. Yeah.
And so now you're figuring it out. But
it makes you appreciate your situation.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Man. So it's like, I just wasn't supposed to be there when you know. Yeah. It'll be back. It'll be better tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the way I look at life. If you had to give you know, anybody that's listening or watching, advice on just dealing with anxiety, depression, you know what I'm saying, going to those dark places, what advice would you give them?
Man, first off, don't do it alone. You know what I mean? Don't do it alone. And if that means reaching out and finding professional resources, then by all means do that. We got online services, man. There's all different kinds of ways to see a therapist. And I think that you'll find, you know, I'm not big on medication. My therapist is asking me to get on. I'm like, man, I'm gonna work through some stuff first and just see how. You know, I'm just real hesitant to that. And I'm not knocking it. It's just a personal thing for me, and you know, not something that I'm just immediately interested in. Although I've been in therapy for years now, so it's not immediate, you know. But she's asked me about it the last couple of times, and I'm open to it. But I'm you know, I'm gonna work on my hormone things. I'm gonna work on a few other little things first, and just see if I can fix it myself. And then I'll come back and discuss that. But just talking alone, man, just having conversations with somebody, if it's weighing on you, you need to talk about it. You know what I mean? And a therapist is like, man, for me, I have a female therapist. And you can pick male, female, however you know. It just worked out for me. Like, I needed a therapist. I called them. This is who they assigned me to. The first session went good, and we just wrote out. You know what I mean? And she's been with me for years now, and I think she's great. But you know, I think of it as having like a best friend, a female best friend that I can tell anything. She can't tell shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's how you got it. That's how I had to tell myself to go in
yeah.
there. Now it's completely different. But for me to go in there, it was like, look, you can say anything. Short of, I'm gonna go kill Swirl tonight. Yeah. Then she can't say shit to nobody,
please
bro. Can't. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can say anything short of, I'm gonna violently hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And she can't say nothing to nobody, bro. Not nobody. And no matter what kind of trust you got with somebody or what, I'm real, you know, I say trust is a hard thing for me, but it ain't, you know, it's man, I trust you with $1,000 and you fuck me, you know what I mean? But this shit right here, I mean, I can't trust you. I don't just trust anybody with that.
Because a lot of people weaponize feelings and man,
absolutely, dude, absolutely. So you know, you got to feel comfortable speaking to somebody about this stuff and talking to them. And like I said, you know, you don't want somebody that's gonna weaponize that, or somebody that's gonna throw it in your face or hold it against you somewhere, even down the road or whatnot. And that's where a therapist comes in. They're a third party, bro, completely neutral, you know. And they're gonna be on your side once y'all go and do all that. They're there for you the whole time, but they're neutral. They don't know nothing about you, bro. Nothing but what you tell them. So, you know, they're hearing it. It's your story. It's your story to tell, 100%. You know, and this is the one person that can listen to it without any outside interference. You know, and it's a real cool way, I think, to get out there and just work through some shit, man. You know, and that's the other thing is they've got the tools to have the correct conversation with you. You know, they're not just gonna be like, oh yeah, cool, bro, that fucking sucks, you know, or whatever. I mean, they're gonna ask you questions that make you think about the situation and make you either make better decisions or have a better understanding of what happened. You know, I mean, and if just talking your sniffy udder is what you need to do, then that's fine. But I think for some of these people, you know, doing out there wilding out when they were young, maybe soaking in some of this trauma that they didn't know, and you could be at any success level. Yeah, bro, we need to make that clear. This isn't a poverty thing. This isn't a middle class thing. How much money you have. None of that. This stuff affects everybody. So if you're super successful and you think, oh man, that's not, you know, I just had a couple bad days. Man, look, they're talking.
Sometimes the super successful are in the worst shapes just because they feel like, oh no.
Well, the drive, you know, when you're driven like that off of those feelings and emotions, you're not sleeping as much. You're just power driven. You're proving a point, you know. So yeah, absolutely. Funny story, man. I was at the tattoo convention and was having to I was getting a tattoo done, and they started hurting on me years ago. So I always used numbing cream, and so I didn't have none. Nobody had it. There was a whole debacle about this company, whatever. And so I got it on the back of my leg, went up in the back of the knee, dude, and oh my God, it hurt. And I knew it was gonna hurt. And so I was outside, man, I was smoking before, it was all I could do, you know, just sitting out there at the convention center, just smoking. And I was telling my buddy, I was like, man, this shit. He said, dude, I used to take naps when I get tattoos, man. I'd sit there and doze off. I didn't bother me at all.
I've never been able to do that.
And then, man, I was like, but now this shit hurts, dude. I can't sit for 30 minutes. And this girl over here, she's eating, dude. She said, you started therapy recently? I was like, what? She said, if you started therapy recently. I said, yeah, a few years ago, she said, that's why you feel your tattoos now. So what are you talking about? She said, before, you could disassociate. You could just separate from those feelings, from those, you know, from that hurt. You could just separate from it. But now, therapy's got you feeling your feelings. Damn. Oh, dude, I was like, damn, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was mad, dude.
Damn.
I was so mad.
But that shit's spot on, though.
But it's spot on, dude.
Yeah,
It made perfect
damn.
sense to me, too. I was like, damn, because that's what it was, a disassociation, man. I mean, I got a lot of these in prison, you know, so they weren't with, like, you know, the most professional guns, you know what I mean? Yeah. They weren't built for comfort, you know what I mean? So it just, yeah, man, it just made me think about that. And I was like, dude, you could just disassociate. You could completely separate from any feeling that you had whatsoever. And that shit comes from how you're raised, man, and dealing with shit growing up, you know?
Well, man, I appreciate you coming through, Dewayne. I think we'll wrap it up. Man, I appreciate you coming through.
Hey,
I
dude,
appreciate you trusting me with some of your feelings and putting it out there for the unlicensed therapists.
I love it. I love that you're doing it. I love that you're using this platform for that, man. When I saw the first one, I was like, that's what's up, dude. We need more people just doing this, just making it, you know, just making it the normal, dude. And by all means, dude, if you have insurance, your insurance covers you going to therapy. So go. You know what I mean?
I'm about to get on my wife, so I'm definitely gonna go and talk about a few things, because I can't do this and not do that.
Man, I'll tell you this, dude. If you go, and if you're not dealing with nothing crazy, you ain't got to go every week. You know what I mean? Go once a month or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear. I'd love to hear from you after like 4 or 5 times to go on and just see what the difference is, because I know that you'll feel a difference. You'll see it. I mean, it's almost one of those like, man, you'll walk out of there feeling lighter. It's crazy, dude. And then every time you go in there, you know,
a little bit more,
man. And it's just a good feeling. And like I said, you know, eventually you start to get looking, you know, man, I can't wait to go in there and talk about this and get the tools that I need to deal with the next time that it happens, you know. And so that's what it's about. It's filling that tool shed up with things that can help you along your journey.
Man, well, y'all heard it. Fill your tool shed up. Fill your tool shed up with the tools you need to go through this journey in life. Therapy can help you with that. In between time, you have the unlicensed therapist. This is unlicensed therapy. Dewayne Madden from Hip House. I appreciate you.
I love it.
And y'all take it easy.